This sode would not be possible without the support of our listeners, patrons, and sponsors. If you'd like to learn more about supporting the 3-Bit Gamer Show, check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/3BG. And a huge thanks goes out to our boss-level patrons, Christopher and Patrick.
Hey guys, what's up?
Oh, it's you.
Whoa, something wrong, man?
Other than you stealing my job last week?
Whoa, Peterson. That's not fair. Trent was helping cover for you last week.
No, he was scheming against me.
Dude, if you're seriously this mad about it, I'll just go.
Wait, no, man, don't go.
No, you know what? I think that's a great idea. You should leave.
Fine, I'm gone!
Way to go, Peterson. I hope you feel really good about yourself.
Well, I wouldn't say I feel really good. Maybe pretty good. Either way, I'm definitely feeling better.
You just logged into the 3-Bit Gamer Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Peterson.
He's gone. He left. You
Good.
made him leave.
Well,
For real.
he's gone. He's gone. He logged off.
Shouldn't have stepped on your turf. Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news. All right, our news this week is brought to us by Crave Cookies. Oh my God. Crave Cookies is this awesome cookie and pretzel shop and soda, and they have the fancy dirty sodas that everyone loves here in Utah. It's got a drive-through. It's got DoorDash. It's here in Midvale. They've got these 2 cookies for Cinco de Mayo and the horchata churro, which is unbelievable, you guys. I actually was having some because I got one like earlier this week, and I put it in the fridge, and oh, so good. And then a coca de leche. It's so just check them out, cravecookies.com. All right, so let's get into some news. We have a shit
So much news this week.
So yeah, let's just jump right in. So here's the first thing, and this is kind of an interesting piece because so I think one of our listeners shared this in our Discord earlier this week that brought this to my attention. It was Resident Evil 8 mod, which adds Barney. It replaces the zombies in or the village people that you're trying to kill in the game that are like mobbing you in scary fashion. It replaces them with Barney.
Like Barney the purple dinosaur
dinosaur
from your childhood.
And it is realistic. It looks exactly... It's not like a shitty rendition. It's just as much care and detail as they put into the Thomas the Tank Engine mod for Skyrim that they put into the mod. Barney mod.
You're walking around this dark hallway, dimly lit. You've only got this crappy flashlight, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
You turn a corner, and out of the darkness comes 3 big, fat, purple dinosaurs.
It's amazing. And one's dragging
they are
going to
kill you.
One has a sickle, and they're just groaning. I think it'd be a little bit better if they added the giggles that he does, the chuckles,
they added
or whatever
Barney
noises
sounds.
he makes. Yes.
Especially if you could hear them in the background.
Dude, if you could just hear,
see him.
you're looking down this dank catacomb, and you just hear scraping on the floor, and then just very, very softly, I love you. You're like, what
okay,
the fuck?
now it's
What
creepy
the fuck
again.
Was that?
We went from the game scary to the Barney mod, which is significantly less scary, back to scary. You
back to
a full circle.
Way scarier. Okay, so here's my question about this. Because then I went digging into this. There's another mod that replaces the gun, one of the guns that you're using in this game, with a banana, a peeled banana, halfway peeled. You're holding the peel. Mm-hmm. The unpeeled banana is sticking out. That's your gun. When you reload it, you drop the peel and slap another peel on there. Like that's the magazine you're replacing.
Yeah, that's the magazine.
So that's funny. They also have a giant. There was in this Barney video, he was attacking them with a giant spoon.
Oh man.
There were some other mods that just like
you've seen the fly swatter. Is that a mod?
I don't
Or
know
is
if that's
in the actual game.
It may be actually in the game because there seems to be quite a few bugs.
So
long story short,
what bugs?
I looked into it. I really did do some digging. So if any listeners have some more context on this, I'd love to know. But why are there mods for Resident Evil 8? What? I'm not complaining.
Didn't that game just come out?
Yeah, it came out like 2 days ago, and there's already a Barney mod. I'm sorry, Barney mods are in like the 5th or 6th generation of mods. First, you get some texture mods, then you get some quality of life mods, like we're getting in Valheim right now, where there's like, oh, it's an inventory mod that makes your inventory a little bit cleaner. Like, those are what you do for the first couple mods. You don't lead off with Barney and a giant spoon and a banana gun. What is happening?
That's our
I feel
starting
like I just
point.
missed like a big story, and there's like some story behind this that like I could not for the life of me find online. But this is a game that historically has not had any mods. It's in a genre that I would never expect to see mods, and yet there's a robust modding community, or just like a couple dudes that are obscenely skilled and have very niche interests.
I think it might be one of those like first to video type of thing. You know what I mean? People want plays on their YouTube channel or whatever they want. If they're streaming Twitch or something, it's a good way to get views on a really popular anticipated game. You come out with the mod first, the silly mod. Hey, look, guys, I'm playing Resident Evil, but all the zombies are Barney. And everyone's like, wait, what? And then that's my guess.
I mean, that's as good a guess as any. I just still, at the core of it all, do not understand how or why they have mod support, which was a decision by the developers of Resident Evil 8 to add. And it's only in PC for right now, but God, dude, like I wouldn't be surprised.
Off-brand that
it's so weird.
It's
so off-brand. It's so off-brand. I love it. That's why I was like, this has got to be news. It's not really news, but what is going on? What is going on? Anyway, some other stuff. This is more of a personal interest, but
oh, you think?
This is our podcast, so we can do whatever we want. Frostpunk, that survival, hardcore survival game that's set in a post-apocalyptic British Isles, where the temperatures, it's like a new ice age, and you're just like huddled around the last generator in the world, mining coal and trying to keep things
trying to stay alive for who knows what.
I loved it. Peterson said it made him too chilly. Did not have enough blankets to keep him through the game.
I felt cold the whole time, although I did have some great Overlord moments.
Oh, yeah.
And I did beat it. I mean, I loved the game. I gave it a glowing review.
Well, they're releasing a Frostpunk mobile game. Now, this is not Frostpunk ported to mobile systems. Rather, this is a partnership with NetEase Games. NetEase, you guys may be familiar with, or you may recognize the name as the Chinese company that is doing Diablo Immortal, the Don't You Have Phones game. So they do have a pedigree. They do have the chops. And certainly that's pretty great for 11-bit. The developers of Frostpunk, they're kind of hitting above their weight class, partnering with the same Chinese company that Blizzard partners with to get their mobile game out the door. So that's kind of cool. Also potentially not cool. It's free to play. Don't like that. I'd pay $15 for this.
You know what that means.
Yeah. Just pay 99 cents to keep your villagers from freezing. One more day.
Your generator is generating some sort of energy that you have to use to do actions. Then once you run out, you got to wait for it to reload, or you could speed it up by watching this ad. That's what it's going to be.
I really hate that. So I went from being really excited about this to being like pretty the opposite of excited about this.
I guess the good news, though, JD, is that we can download it commitment free. You
That's
can
true.
play it.
I can try it.
You can play it for a couple weeks, decide that you cannot handle one more ad, and then quit. And there's no, you got no skin in the game.
We should just make all ads illegal. What is that? What form of capitalism is that, Peterson, where there's no advertising and all products have to just kind of stand on their own?
Oh my gosh.
Like
whatever it is, I'm in.
That's what I want.
Because aren't ads like the bane of everyone's existence?
Ads are the problem with everything. Ads are the only reason that Facebook exists still. Like if we didn't have ads, we wouldn't have Facebook. Like all the problems, all the blights, all the billboards, everything that's so ugly out there. It's just because ads are legal. Just make all ads illegal.
Commercials?
Yeah.
Everyone's least favorite part of television since the dawn of ads. Everyone's least favorite part of radio.
Yeah.
What is ads? No one likes this. I've never been like, here we go. Commercial time, baby.
Yeah, I can't. I just like rubbing my hands together because I'm getting some sweet ads. Like, how many industries would have just up and dissolved? Like, really shitty industries like the tobacco industry would have just dissolved overnight without ads.
Oh, man.
That's all I'm saying, folks. JD capitalism is just capitalism with no ads.
Just ad-free capitalism. I don't know what it's called, but I'm in.
Okay, so speaking of capitalism, Activision Blizzard, their Q1 2021 financials revealed that Blizzard has lost almost 29% of its overall active player base over the last 3 years.
Guys, that's like more, just over a quarter. That's almost a third of their player base in 3 years.
I mean, dude, it's kind of interesting. You could look at this podcast over that time period, and it's a pretty good microcosm of what happened. Like, you could sum up all the things that forced all of us away from this studio and all of their games. Activision, or I guess this is just Blizzard. So just as a refresher, Blizzard does games such as StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Hearthstone. And a lot of these have just been kind of, I don't know. They've just been declining in popularity a little bit here and a little bit there.
Well, they hit at the right time, right? Like Overwatch, just when they came out, it was the right time for it. Heroes of the Storm in its heyday hit at the right time. It was the right content at the right time. And then they just failed to a couple things. They failed to keep those games interesting and relevant, because that trend kind of died off for both of those, which were very big. And they failed to release anything new for a long time. Guys, Overwatch was their last new game.
2015?
Something, I don't know, 2016 maybe.
6 years without a release, and
dude, for a big studio at the top of their game.
And what's on the horizon? Like Diablo 4 is kind of like a dream. Kind of feels like a George R.R. Martin book at this point.
It feels like it's 2 years out at least. You know what I mean? Which
that doesn't, like, 2 years out puts that at 8 years. Now we're talking like an 8 years at best.
Mm-hmm.
That's not great.
And the thing is, that would be okay if they had something keeping people interested. The only thing they have keeping people interested is World of Warcraft right now, and which is doing well.
Well, see, it's really obnoxious about these statistics that they release is that they kind of obfuscate what we're looking at, because they only release their active monthly players as like a sum total. It's not broken out by game. So you're kind of just left to guess what might be gaining, what might be losing. They didn't say that World of Warcraft gained any active players this quarter, so it would stand to reason that was part of the losses as well. But I don't know.
But during this time period, they've definitely gained some World of Warcraft subscribers through Vanilla WoW. I mean, I personally know half a dozen people that hadn't played Warcraft for years and years, and when Vanilla WoW came out, they're like, well, check it out, and they got at least 2 or 3 months out of them, you know what I mean? And then Shadowlands came out, and you know how it is. People will buy it and then jump back in. So every time they release something WoW, big or not, they're going to get a little boost in revenue. And so that's what I think is keeping them afloat. Because
their revenue was up this quarter. Despite these losses, the revenue keeps going up. So it's hard to be like, they're going to freak out or care about this. They're just kind of, seems like they're consolidating their base, and they're happy to lose, I don't know, what seemed to be like kind of a bigger tent of gamers, the BlizzCon gamers. And they just are like, we do WoW, and kind of just like maintenance mode on everything else.
They had one of the most passionate gamer bases, and I feel like they've lost it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because, so I would argue that absolutely does matter long term, right? But for them, it doesn't matter because, as you said, revenue is up despite losing people. So they're like, fine. And look, I guarantee they're just, the board is licking their chops to get a Diablo Immortal out there because they're going to make $1 billion off.
Yeah, Diablo Immortal and Diablo 4 will make them money. Quite frankly,
they're
that's
licking their chops. Diablo Immortal, though, it's a mobile game. It's just going to get them. You know how mobile games are. They're going to get so much revenue month after month after month from people paying for whatever content. I'm telling you, they're going to make so much money off of it that they're going to care even less about anything new, anything else. They're going to do Diablo Immortal. Then they'll be like, they're going to try to do some fan lip service and say, oh, Diablo's coming out, guys. Here we come, here we come, Overwatch 2. But I'll be honest, like, I am not interested in playing either of those games. If Diablo Immortal is free to play, I'll probably download it for a second, but I hate the controls on the phone. And so I probably won't like it. Diablo 4, I mean, if it's if the previous Diablo launches are any indication, it's going to be rough at first. And Overwatch 2, it has to be completely different and completely new to even be a blip on my radar as something I'm interested in.
Well, what's kind of crazy now to look at, and I guess if you look at it, it's like Blizzard's never been in like an invincible position. I guess you could say they were a couple years ago, but certainly now it seems to me like those 3 games you just listed, like they're really like, that's it. If they hit wrong on 2 out of 3 of those, they're hurting. Yeah, and I think that was the lesson they learned with Warcraft 3 Reforged is like, you can't just phone it in. Like, you can phone it in, but there is a limit to which you can just be like, fuck it. The fans will like this. They'll eat it. They don't care.
They don't care. And fans do care. Absolutely care. And but that's what I'm saying. They have lost their passionate fan base. They've lost their player base that was absolutely rabid about Blizzard, that absolutely cared about everything they did.
Yeah.
They don't get that free pass anymore because they lost it.
No, they're just a game company now. It's just a game company.
They're just anybody else.
In a couple of years, no one's getting Blizzard tattoos. No one's doing that shit anymore. No one's gonna go, to BlizzCon and call it like the biggest moment of their life. It's just that magic seems to be kind of gone.
Yep, I agree.
It's like Disneyland in the 80s. Okay, so let's see. We've got the Stadia product head, John Justice.
Johnny Justice.
John Justice. I mean, you're kind of stuck because any name you choose is going to come out. Michael Justice. It doesn't fucking matter. They're all going to be bad.
Justice is your last name.
Yeah, Jose Justice. Cool. Yep. No, it doesn't matter. He's left Google. So all the rats are jumping off the ship. I love that, dude. I love that. This is just the cycle that Google does. It just pays a bunch of kind of like wealthy tech guys a lot of money to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people lose their jobs, and we talk about it on the podcast, and then everything just goes back, and they're going to do it again. Next product they're working on, they're going to do the exact same fucking thing.
Yep.
It's so weird. If you have something better to do with your money other than just like light piles of it on fire,
just throw piles of it at people, and then the rest of it just nonchalantly burn like you're the Joker in The Dark Knight.
That's the
Just
second
sit on
episode
the
in a
pile
row we
of
referenced
cash
that.
And
I'm
burn
telling
it.
you, man, I'm obsessed with burning piles of cash. That's my thing now. That's the image in my head. Just some gas and some cash. So yeah, that's very cool. Good for you, John Justice. I can't wait to see what your next project is. Okay, so another mobile thing that is interesting. I don't know, Peterson. When was the last time you played a fucking mobile game?
So
Who's mobile gaming now?
I play mobile games, but I play like the silly. This is why I don't talk about them on the podcast, because I play just like dumb little, just no brainer like match 3 type of games, and it's usually when I'm watching a show where I don't have to be like paying complete attention to the screen. So if it's like a reality show, or if we're watching Bachelor, if we're watching Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives, which I've been watching a lot of, right? That's where I'll sit there and play like some stupid little match 3 type of game or
Peterson,
something like that.
Do you think you're going to sit down and play a Division mobile game?
Here's the thing. I know I won't. I know I'll download it to just see what it is. Right. And I know it's going to have the touch controls, which again, my stupid thumbs can't do.
In fairness, they do have all sorts of new like things where you could just clip a Xbox One controller.
Yeah, I know they have those.
So those are kind of cool. But then again, if I'm going to bust out a controller at that point, we'll just put it on my fucking screen.
I might as well just play a real game.
Yeah, like, okay, I've gone through this effort. So the Ubisoft, who develops the pandemic, it's a little too close to home, the post-pandemic looter shooter, The Division, they have announced 2 new The Division titles. First is The Division Heartland, which is a free to play
like on PC
and console, and that's all we know. We do know that it comes out of Red Storm Studios, which is one of Ubisoft's kind of older studios in North Carolina. They have done a lot of Rainbow Six games, tons of their Tom Clancy games, the Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare, GRAW games. They've worked on the Far Cry games, so they know what they're doing.
Like they know how to make a shooter.
They can do anything. That's the thing. Knowing their pedigree doesn't narrow down at all what this game's going to be. Some people are pointing out that it could be a battle royale in the same vein as like Fortnite and PUBG. And Apex Legends. I mean, if it's free to play, that would kind of be the best guess.
Yeah, so like focused on PvP, right?
Which could be cool. Like, I mean, The Division is tight. I'll be honest, like, as the looter shooter aspects of it were kind of the more boring parts for me, because we talked about this, Peterson, when we were planning the sode, but like, it kind of is there weren't that many cool weapons, and there wasn't that much variety, and you just kind of all went for the same weapon at the end of the game, which is kind of dumb.
Yeah,
boring.
I don't like that at all. There's like some meta, right? That you're like, well, I got to get this whole load out, and then I'll be the best, right? Then my gear score will be the highest it can possibly be, and then the guys are like 25% less bullet sponges.
Yeah, but I feel like The Division could be cool because it is a very flat game. It would be, I would say, a lot of battle royale games are very vertical. I think PUBG would probably be an exception here, but Fortnite, you've got jumping, building, flying. Apex Legends, the same deal. Call of Duty, you can jump off buildings with your parachute and shit like that. You're just moving a lot.
Yeah.
But with the Division, it was very grounded, kind of cover-based game.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing that as I don't know, are there battle royales that are like that are kind of a slower, tactical shooter?
I would say not necessarily, but I don't. The thing that would concern me is I don't know if the Division brings anything interesting enough to really be interesting. You know what I mean? Anything really new. The only thing I could think of is in the PvP of the Division as it stands. You know, you go into the dark zone or whatever, and it's every man for himself.
Sure.
There are still wandering gangs of, AI characters that are pretty tough, right? If you see them and if they see you, you can't just run away because you don't want to get shot 3 or 4 times in the back, right? And so I could see that playing if they did do a battle royale. You're in a city or something. You're in some sort of cityscape. You're looting for weapons, but there's still these AI roving gangs that are very dangerous around, that are going to start firefights.
Sure.
That's going to draw lots of attention because that's how it is now. You get into a firefight, and then someone else hears that, and they come and they're like, "Well, I'm going to capitalize on this and kill whoever the AI is fighting, take their gear and run," right? So I don't know. I'm interested. This has piqued my interest because I love the world that the Division has built. It's very interesting. It's kind of gross. It's really gritty.
So let me throw this out there. I would not be upset or surprised were this to be something entirely new and different. I think people have been kind of hungry for that. I would say that battle royales are certainly very long in the tooth at this point for gaming trends and fads. Like MOBAs had their time in the sun, and I think they had about the same amount of time that battle royales have had now. Maybe a little bit more, probably a little bit more. But I think I'm personally kind of ready to move on. I've seen kind of weird outliers like that Hood, Outlaws, and Legends game. And Peterson, you're playing Conqueror's Blade, which is definitely kind of a more unique multiplayer. And so, if this came out and was something totally different, I wouldn't be taken by surprise, and I'd be kind of stoked. The other one they've talked about is the Division Mobile, which that comes out of Massive, which is the studio that was originally responsible for the Division, and Ubisoft Bucharest, which seems like they just do bitch work. So I don't know about the mobile game. I honestly don't know what to expect out of the mobile game, other than I have no interest in playing it, because that seems like, I mean, I have an iPhone 8, so I have like the smaller iPhone. Playing a game that's like not cartoony, like Fortnite is a good phone game. But like you mentioned, Peterson, it's like a gritty, realistic shooter.
Yeah.
That's going to look fucking weird on my tiny little phone screen that I'm trying to control.
I'm not into shooters on my phone at all.
Yeah,
the last thing I will say is I hope that the free-to-play Division game is not a Destiny type of game where it's a looter shooter, do a mission with your friends.
I don't think they're going to do that.
I hope it's not.
Maybe. I mean, that would be the craziest thing. But I think that we're not going to get a repeat of the Division 1 and 2 because the signal is that Massive's not working on it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be something completely different. Something way different. This was just a trailer that they released. Nintendo released. It's just a little thing. It's called Game Builder Garage. Mm-hmm. If you guys remember when I talked about Dreams for the PlayStation 4, which is kind of a video game builder game where you could build your own video games, and it gave you all the tools to do that, to set like things like behavior for bad guys and things like that, and animating a platform floating across the sky, for example. This new game, Game Builder Garage, is Nintendo's answer, I guess. It's very Nintendo approach to it.
Yeah.
It looks crazy. It looks beyond me, but I think there's some people out there that are going to build some really awesome games. So I'm really excited to see what that looks like. And then here's another one. This one's cool as hell. Because we've been talking about E3 and reports of E3's death were greatly exaggerated because Square Enix, Sega, Bandai, Namco, and a couple other studios, including Freedom Games, Devious Eye Entertainment, and Turtle Beach, the hardware manufacturers, have all announced that they will be at E3 2021. They're going to be there.
It's weird because it's kind of like everyone else, like, well, do we have anything better to do? No.
We have a bunch of cash.
And we made a bunch of money last year?
Yeah. They didn't do any events last year, so their
this.
event budget's huge. Yeah. Let's just go to E3. We'll just throw an E3 together. It's going to be the scrappiest E3 yet.
It's going to be so scrappy, but I don't know. Maybe that's better. Maybe E3 was getting too big for its britches and they were trying to outdo each other. Maybe this is just people are just kind of bringing it back to here's what we have and here's what we're working on. I don't know. Yeah. This is so interesting to me, though, how last year E3 seemed, I mean, the past few years, E3 has seemed like it was dying a little bit. And then this year, it feels like everyone's just like, well, I guess we'll go.
We love E3 now. What the fuck? I love E3. Cool.
We need something.
Yeah, I guess we're going to do something. So, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to covering E3 because that usually fills out an entire episode, and they screwed us last year out of an entire episode of content. What the fuck?
Whole episode. That's like a week, you guys. You stole a week of my life by canceling your stupid little show. You owe
Jerks. Me. You owe me 2 E3s. You owe me E6. Okay, E6. So Apple versus Epic.
Dude, I don't even know where to start with this.
Oh my goodness. I'm just going to kind of breeze through these. You guys remember that Epic is suing Apple because of a kerfuffle where they didn't want to pay Apple royalties
30% on all their
V-Bucks sales in Fortnite, which apparently made $7 billion on the iOS over the last 2 years alone. Yeah. And I guess 30% of that is a considerable amount of money. 2.1 billion. Is that right?
Dude, don't ask me to math. My phone is dead almost, so I can't.
So yeah, they wanted to claw their 2.1 billion back, and they were like, "Well, then we're just gonna do store purchases in the game that you can't take 30% of." And Apple's like, "Well, don't do that." And they're like, "We already did it." And they're like, "Okay, bye."
And so they just can't. They just terminated their game on their platform.
Yeah, so Epic was like, haha, you activated my trap card. Now I'm going to sue you. And that's where we're at. The other thing that's kind of crazy is that apparently if 2 megacorps sue each other, one megacorp can look at the other megacorp and be like, tell me all your stuff. Tell me everything. You have to tell me fucking everything. And then the person can also just like point to other random megacorps that are just kind of out there, not even in the courtroom at the time, and be like, you have to tell me all your stuff. Hey, you got to tell me all your shit.
Hey, Microsoft. Microsoft's like, what's happening?
What was that? What, Microsoft? No. Get back here. You tell me all your shit, Microsoft.
And then the lawyers are like, yes, Microsoft, you have to tell them everything. And they're like, okay.
What? Okay.
And like, but what about Sony? And they're like,
yeah, you get your punk ass in here too, Sony. So we're just going to know everything about every megacorp because these two are fighting. And apparently that's how the legal system works. I don't know.
I do not understand the weavings of all of this, but reading the Cliff Notes is fascinating.
Yeah, so
we're learning so much.
These Cliff Notes. So here's some things that just came trickling out in the courtroom last week. Epic Games is apparently trying to get Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft first-party games on the Epic Game Store, which I guess makes sense. It's just crazy. They're so aggressive. They just want everything on EGS.
Everything. They're trying to get it all.
And there is no amount of money that's too much. Like, they just don't care. They just throw money at things.
Meanwhile, Steam is over here like, we have at least a couple decades of people's game libraries.
Steam's like, wait, you're paying people to put their games on your store? I don't understand. You're gonna slow down.
They
Wait a
just
second.
put it on there. That's
No,
what
you have the
you
store,
just sit back and they put it on,
and
it's
then
like
they come to you and they beg you to take 30% of their money to put it on their store. That's how it works, right? No, you're paying it. Wait. You are paying game
you
makers,
idiots. Your
and
business
then you're
model's
giving
all wrong.
away those games for free? Do you guys even know what a store is? Like the concept of what a store is? And Epic's like, dude, shut up. Just take. How much money will it take for you to shut up right now? I will give you $1 million. Because money
You know
means
what?
nothing.
Get
to
in
me.
this court case right now. You're in.
You know what? Come here. You have to tell me all your shit now too.
Now Valve is involved.
Another thing, Microsoft apparently, because they were depositioning a Microsoft lawyer. Why the fuck were they in there?
Dude, I don't get
That's
it.
so crazy. So
I
is
didn't go to law
Microsoft being
school.
like, did they have to pay the bill to that attorney for that attorney to be in there just being like telling all their secrets? Like apparently that Microsoft has never ever made a profit on the sale of an Xbox console.
Dude, that's so wild.
I know we could kind of glean that and guess it, but wow, hot damn.
Yeah.
That is just like all their money comes from their software and all the other shit. But man, they're just eating it. That's the
Well, if you
that is
think
the
about
Costco
it-
chicken. Is
if
the
you think
Xbox.
about it, like your cell phone costs more than an Xbox,
twice
like
as much.
2 Xboxes,
Yeah.
right? And so I think phone companies used to just give phones away. Like, oh, you sign up, we'll just give you a phone. We don't care.
Mhm.
We just want that subscription money. Until they decided, well, why don't we just get some of that sweet cash up front as well? And then they started doing that. I'm so glad consoles have not gotten there.
Well, to be fair, there are some things in phones that are fucking crazy expensive, but yeah.
That's true.
The other one, let's see. This one's interesting. Epic expects that the Epic Game Store will be profitable by 2024, so 3 years from now.
And they opened it up 2 years ago?
I mean, I don't doubt it. This is really just an issue of just like throwing money at a problem.
It is.
Until it's up there. Like the space shuttle was the stupidest fucking idea in the world, but we just threw money at it until it was just up there.
Until it actually
Are you kidding me? That shit costs so much money, but we just did it.
Well,
and it worked.
This is what happens when there's a business model out there that is working and you want to get in. The barrier to entry to an online gaming store is so high because there's a juggernaut in there. This is like somebody trying to take down Walmart. You're going to have to throw so much money at it to take down the big guy, right? And the big guy is Steam, is Valve. And Epic wants a piece of that pie, but they're so late into the game. All they can do is throw money at it until they do what they're doing. Offer free content every week, new free game every week. So people are in there downloading until they have a library of 200 games where all of a sudden they open up the EGS instead of Steam and start making money off of game sales, which they're anticipating 2024 they got some work to do on their store front still, I think, if that's the case. But the amount of money they're throwing at it, I don't doubt that they're going to try. They're going to try real hard.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, it's just it's interesting to me because I feel like we kind of understood what they were doing right away, which was reinvesting their Fortnite cash. Because just a couple of years ago, Epic was just another game studio. Epic was in the realm that could have easily been swallowed up by Microsoft or fucking like Bethesda or something. They weren't that big.
3 years ago, if someone had said Microsoft is buying Epic, that would not have been a surprise, right? They would have been buying them for the game engine, not for their games library.
Yeah, and that's what they were. It was like, oh, they make a game engine. They do Gears, which is tight. But no, Epic wasn't really. But now it is that it's just interesting to me. It's as if they like found a soothsayer and they're like, we're making so much money. What do we do? What is the best thing? And that was like what came to them.
Yeah.
Whether it was a business analyst or somebody or something that just pointed to it and was like, make a store. You have all this money. There's only one logical thing to do, which is just shove it at a store. And the fact that the money kept coming in, like they made the decision to launch EGS, and then Fortnite didn't stop making money, and so they can just continue to invest all of it and pour it into this one money sink. I think it's awesome. Like what a cool move to just like choose a really, really baller way to invest your windfall that nobody could have predicted.
No.
When was the last time a game got this big? And because PUBG took off and went crazy, PUBG did not make tens of billions of dollars over the course of like a year or two. Like
Fortnite has that magic because it's perfect for kids, right?
And it's
and
perfectly monetized. Not perfectly. It's deviously monetized.
Yeah,
perfectly monetized to take advantage of children. Let's move on. We've got so that's all. I'm sure there will be more epic versus. Oh, and then one last thing is that Fortnite made greater than $9 billion of earnings in its first 2 years.
$9 billion.
No surprise to anyone.
2 years.
I feel like it's a lot bigger than that though, because we were talking about how it made 7 on iOS alone. So,
let's see. Well, let's.
Oh, maybe that was its first 2 years, not the last 2 years. We were talking last 2 years. So it's first. Oh my god, I don't. Yeah. Unbelievable. Anyway, okay. So the Australian government has announced a 30% federal tax offset for video game development.
So what does that mean?
Not apply to indie games, which is a bummer. This is a real clear play, I think, by the Australian government to attract AAA developers,
to get some
AAA studios.
Mm-hmm.
There was one, I think it was called Team Bondi. Are they still even fucking around? They were the guys that made LA Noire, because what better to make a game about Los Angeles that's a hyper-realistic portrayal of Los Angeles than a team that is located a 16-hour flight from Los Angeles. Yeah. Team Bondi was located in Sydney, and they're still around. So yeah, I mean, wait, nope, they're closed. They made LA Noire, and that was it. So I don't think there's a lot of studios, like bigger studios like that, and I think this is a big attraction because generally I don't know, but I don't think you start with indie studios. If you can have a big anchor in any city or area, I know that was a big help for the Salt Lake gaming scene, game development scene, and especially at the Electronic Arts and Entertainment program, the video game development program at the U, benefited from having EA Salt Lake, which is a big anchor here, and they sucked. They just made like Sims expansions, but it was a big like AAA studio that had money and talent and all these things and resources there. And so, yeah, I think, I don't know, this could be a really cool thing and hopefully encourage some bigger studios.
Part of me wonders if there are some big studios looking to open up an office, because I know sometimes when they look for a new location, they will petition governments and say, hey, we're going to open up a studio. It's going to bring X amount of dollars to your country or your city or whatever they're trying to petition. Every year, we're going to add this much to your economy. What can you offer us? How do you sweeten that deal? And a lot of times this is what they do. They give them tax breaks. And so this makes me wonder if there's a big studio out there who has reached out, because this seems random, right? Video game development, they could have done this with automobile production or anything, right? And so the video game product development seems a little bit random. So I wonder if there's somebody out there, looking at Australia and saying, hey, there's no major studio there. We potentially could come there. We'll bring, 500 employees. What do you got for us?
Yeah, you only have to spend $500,000 in Australia to qualify for this 30% tax cut, which is
30% is a big deal.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, let's see. Well, a handful of Australian studios have teams of 20 to 50 staff, and a couple foreign-owned companies can boast workforces of approximately 150. The video game industry here is overwhelmingly populated by much smaller independent teams.
Yeah, so get somebody big out there.
Yeah, we'll get some big anchors.
Yeah.
That's always good because they bring in the money, they bring in the institutions, they bring in the events and all the other shit. Okay, and our last story here is the worst.
JD is so depressed about this.
Sony expects PlayStation 5 shortages to last well into next year. That is 2022.
Like, well into 2022.
Yay!
So, guys, just expect to buy a PS6. Like, don't forget about the 5.
Just skip the PS5. Pre-order your PS6s today because the pre-orders are almost full.
Dude, unreal.
For the 6s. I don't know.
So
I'm
wild.
over it, dude. I asked Peterson because so you can't find GPUs. We've talked about that a lot. But everyone's buying pre-built machines now. So you're not buying all the parts, you just buy it all ready to go. And that's what Peterson ended up doing a couple of months back. When did you buy that? When did you get it?
Yeah, it's probably been 4 months ago.
And it's got a 3070 in it, right?
Yeah.
And you paid how much?
And so base price was $1,300. I
And
did
now
a couple
it
upgrades.
is
Now base price is $1,800 for the same exact PC.
Dude, that is infuriating. That is outrageous because even where you bought it was overpriced. Like what you paid for it was probably way too much.
Yep.
And now it's
it was the only way
double.
to get a 30 series, and it still is. And yet it has gone up $500. And like it's not even the best like 30 series card, right? It's like a mid-tier one. Dude, $500. I wouldn't buy this PC for $1,800. Like if someone asked me, I'd say, don't get it. This is not an $1,800 computer.
Right. But now it's oh my
Dude,
god.
Unreal.
I'm sick of it, dude. I'm so over it. And now I'm just like I'm done. I'm not looking for PlayStation 5s anymore. I'm not looking for a card for Jenna anymore. Because I'm not paying 3 times the cost of what it's supposed to be.
Does this discourage developers in making PS5 exclusives? Is this discouraging to them, or are there enough out there already?
No, because all that tells you is that it's like infinite demand. Because that's what they keep talking about. It's like there's no shortage of demand. So basically, as they keep releasing these, they'll keep selling them. So there are as many PS5s as they can make, they will sell.
Dude,
it's not a bad problem to have.
I don't understand it.
Ugh, it's a bummer. All right, let's move on to some kudos.
Kudos.
Okay, kudos is our positivity segment. I like to give a shout out to something we're into. This week, I have a couple. So I'll go first. I'll start with this one. This is a docu-series. No, it's not docu-series. It's a it's like a documentary with a bunch of different episodes, but it's not like a one like
it's not a documentary about one thing.
Yeah. It's called Generation Hustle. It's on HBO now. It is a documentary. They do a new one. Each episode is focusing on a new hustler, essentially a con man. It's always a con man. And it's just like it's just like a really good. They did one. The one that really sucked me into that I was way into was the one on WeWork. If you guys have heard of or if you're familiar with WeWork, it was essentially a company that would buy real estate, business, office real estate, make it look nice, and then sublease it to companies. But the whole thing was just predicated on just a scam, kind of, and the guy running it was just a con artist that was basically just trying to build the whole thing into a cult for himself. It's so crazy. It's these things. All these episodes are so nuts. There's a gal who legitimately just impersonated. Okay, so there's one gal that was like she impersonated a German heiress and just like rubbed shoulders with all these rich people in New York and was just like conning.
I remember hearing about this.
Rich people in New York. Another one was a guy that was pretending to be a Saudi prince
Oh my god.
and was just conning people. And then a rich guy was basically using him to keep his Ponzi scheme going by basically like pretending that he was some rich partying Saudi prince. Dude, it's crazy. If you want to see basically people who have taken an Instagram hustle to its natural conclusion, which you never want to actually do, you should check it out. It's called Generation Hustle. Peterson, do you have any kudos?
I do. I've got one kudos, and it's maybe a little preemptive, but I found this thing that I bought my wife for Mother's Day, and it's a book. You might have heard about it. It's called The Adventure Challenge. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
So what it is it's a book, and there's a whole bunch of different versions of them. There's the Adventure Challenge for families. There's the Adventure Challenge for couples. There's the Adventure Challenge for single people, for for everything, right? And it is a book. It's got a bunch of, you have to really commit to it, but it's got a bunch of adventures in it. And what it is, you can't see what they are. So you pick one, essentially scratch it off, and it tells you what you have to do. And it could be something as simple as, all right, you guys are going to make, your whole family is going to get together and you guys are going to make a cake. But the only thing is, two people have to be, the two people who are putting together the ingredients are blindfolded, right? And everyone else has to tell them. And so, but the thing is, you have to commit to it. You have to say, okay, we're going to scratch it off, and whatever it says, we're going to do it.
We're doing, yeah.
And there's lots of videos online about people doing this. The challenges are always really fun. They're not like over the top, undoable types of things. Like, dude, I can't spend $400. You know, I can't go climb to the top of a mountain right now. You know, that sort of thing. They're very doable. But they're very kind of, you got to put yourself out there. So I got this for my wife, the Adventure Challenge for families, and I can't wait to dig into it and just be like, all right, guys, you know, on Saturdays when my kids are like, I'm bored, let's do something. And I'll be like, you asked for it.
Oh, get the scratcher. Here we go.
Here we go. So it's a cool idea just to kind of spice things up, get out there, get doing random stuff, which anyone with a family can tell you sometimes it's hard to get out there because, you know, all the kids are out and about, or they're bored and they can't think of anything to do. So this kind of gives you that, here, we'll think of stuff to do for you. So the Adventure Challenge, check it out. They're, you know, the books are like $35 or something like that. They're pretty big hardcover books, but really fun idea. So I'm excited to dig into the Adventure Challenge.
Sick. My last kudos is for an app that I knew existed for the longest time, and I just was like, I don't know, maybe I was kind of scared to get in it because I knew what would happen if I did, but I finally pulled the trigger and downloaded Marvel Unlimited. This is essentially an app that it represents the entire catalog of like all Marvel comic
books, right?
Ever. And I knew it was there, and I have this thing that I'm kind of weird about. I like to go on Wikipedia and read like the summaries about like different story arcs and things and how things developed. And I've done this for years, like decades. And partially because it's hard to access, you know, old issues. Like, for example, what I did today, and this is what made me fall in love with Marvel Unlimited, is I wanted to, because the new trailer came out for Maximum Carnage, and so, or Carnage Venom, the new Venom movie or whatever. And I wanted to read the Maximum Carnage run, but dude, it's spread across like 5 different series, and it's 14 issues. So it's like it's like 2 of them or 3 of them were in like Amazing Spider-Man. 1 or 2 was in Spectacular Spider-Man. 1 was in just Spider-Man. Like it was just all over the board, and like finding all those individual books, or you'd have to buy a collection. And just being able to jump on this app and just go through them all was amazing. But what was really stand out to me is that if you like, is like the panel flip. And Peterson, have you seen this before?
No.
It's phenomenal. So like if there's action scenes like in a panel or something, and you like scan from one to the next, like it does like an animation.
Oh, wow.
It will like scan. I don't know. I'm trying to see if I can find any, but it I don't know. It's just a really cool way to consume the comics. You think it would be weird to read a comic book on a cell phone screen, but this actually makes it work. It's just the tightest thing.
Is it how much does it cost?
So that's the downside. Is it was free for a week, but that it's $10 a month. And at first I was like, holy shit, I'll just do the week. But after reading it, I was like, this is it. This does represent $10 a month worth of content. And the way that it's, because they've clearly gone through comic by comic, page by page, panel by panel, and animated every single one. So cool. Yeah, it's worth $10 a month. It's crazy. So it's called Marvel Unlimited. I have it on iOS, but I'm sure it's on everything. Awesome. Cool. And so that brings us to this next one that, I don't know. Do we have a clip for this? Probably not.
Error. No soundbite available. Boobs.
Calling it, what you playing about, Willis?
Is that what we're calling it?
I don't know. That's what I'm calling it currently
That's what
right
you
now.
Put down on the doc.
That's how these things go.
Great.
That's
Great.
how
Now
these
the
things
segment.
go.
I'm gonna say if this is a working title, we'll find something better.
Yeah.
And it won't be. This segment is now called "What You Playing About, Willis?"
What you playing about, Willis?
Sorry,
I don't like it.
I never like
it.
them.
I hate
until I say it 40 times. I'm also not making a sound clip for "What You Playing About, Willis."
You won't make it this week, but
really
some
hard.
week in the future, you'll be like, "Wow, I had to stay up till 2 a.m. to do this." So we wanted, damn it, we wanted to talk about what games we're playing right now, because it's been a minute. Peterson's back on the horse playing games again now that he's not dying, anymore. So Peterson, why don't you kick us off? Tell us what you're playing right now.
Yeah, and the reason JD kind of mentioned it, but the reason why I wanted to do this was, we haven't been playing. There's been games that have come out, but we haven't been playing lots and lots of new games. And partially, I haven't played a new game for a couple weeks now. I've dove into a couple, but mostly I'm just playing stuff that I've already played. And so right now I am, I don't know what it is. I got sucked back into RimWorld.
Oh my God.
And this game, I know I talked about this a while ago, but I can't emphasize enough. Everyone needs to play this game. It is an absolute masterwork of this colony management builder simulator type of game. It's a masterwork. It absolutely is. You have the way this game works is you've crash landed on a planet and you have a small colony of people. It's not one of those where you're managing a colony of 150 people and they're all just kind of, ants, and you're the overseer. You are the overseer, and you are only loosely telling the people what to do. You're like prioritizing their work on an individual level, and then they'll just do it. But you're like, okay, you're building the colony. You're saying, okay, we're going to put a building here with beds in it, or this is going to be our hospital, right? You're building the colony however you want, and they do it, right? But each of the characters, I mean, right now I've got the most people I've ever had, and I've got like 18 or something like that.
Nice.
Usually, though, you've got a smaller group. When it starts to get big, it's like 8 or 9 people, and you know them all. You start to kind of get to know them all and role play in your head who these people are. Like, for example, I was messaging JD the other day. I have this one character. I started growing what is essentially marijuana. They call it something else. They call it smoke leaf. I started growing smoke leaf, and you roll it into joints. And I have this one character that is an absolute drug addict. Any drugs that are around, she's going to just smoke all of it. She's going to do all of it. And she kept passing out because of smoking too much weed.
Tight. You were growing some good smoke leaf.
She'd go, dude, I'd have, them roll some joints or whatever and store them in the hospital. She'd just go, she didn't care. She'd just go in there, smoke 3 of them, pass out, and someone would have to go save her. And then I had a whole bunch of people injured, and I told her to go treat one of them. And I kid you not, she went and grabbed a joint and gave him a joint. That was how she treated somebody who was injured.
That's super accurate.
This will help. Here, smoke a joint.
No, yeah, like a stoner. That's going to be their first advice.
Dude, I die. And this is I know this character is going to do this, right? So you have all these other characters, and I rely on them for certain things. This game is so good, and it's so versatile. Just all the things you can do. The one downside I'll say, and JD brought this up, I didn't even know this, it never goes on sale, ever. It's not like it's expensive to begin with. What is it, $25 or something like that?
I thought it was 40, but maybe it is.
Is it
$25?
But it never goes on sale. That's the thing. It's one of those games where I'm like, oh, if this is on sale, you got to get it. But it doesn't go on sale.
It's $35.
35. The developer has said, no, I don't do that. I don't believe in sales. I'm never putting my game on sale. So it's just not on sale. So at $35, though, I've played 140 hours of this game.
That's well worth.
And I still love it so much. It's one of those where I stop playing for a while and then I come back in and I love it just as much as the first time I played it. It's so good. So I can't stop. I didn't have while I was sick, I didn't have the energy to try something new. I was too tired. But RimWorld is perfect. I can just kind of go through, play, and oversee my people. So I don't have to be too active. There's not a lot of, real quick decisions. You can pause the game whenever you want. So,
yeah.
Gosh, I can't stop playing RimWorld right now.
That's tight. Speaking of games we went back to, I finally downloaded, because it is on Game Pass for free, Age of Empires, the Definitive Edition. This is the latest remaster. They've made 6 now. And honestly, every single time they release one of these, I jump in, I play around with it. I'm like, yeah, it's Age of Empires. Cool. This is what I'll play now. But I jumped into Definitive Edition and was immediately really impressed with a couple things. The campaign seems more robust. They seem to have added some more things there, which is really kind of cool. But what was really neat to me is all the new maps. They have added a shit ton of new maps, and really cool maps that, if you tweak them in custom skirmish game modes, you can build really cool scenarios and set up really fun things. And the possibilities are just outrageous. So I've been playing around a lot with that. And
that's a big deal in RTS games, is getting new maps, right?
Yeah.
And getting the maps interesting, because you can just, anyone can throw together a piece of crap map, but making an interesting map, that's what kept, StarCraft 1, there was no shortage of maps to download and play, and it would, always kept it interesting. So yeah,
that's what keeps me every time I'm like, I guess I'll play Age of Empires. I'm like, yeah, but I get to try a new map. I'm like, oh hell yeah. And trying a new map has just been so fun. So that's been cool. We got let's do some Dear Game Devs.
Dear Game Devs, it's been nearly a fortnight since I last wrote. Mother is well and much has changed back on the farm, but I have just one request of you.
All right, Dear Game Devs is our segment where we beg game developers to do what we want. And this week, because we were just talking about how crazy it is that Resident Evil 8 has mods, well, why? We thought, okay, Dear Game Devs, add mods to these games. So I have a bunch. Do you have some, Peterson?
I've got a handful.
I'll just go first. I think this is low-hanging fruit. It's top of mind for me. It's easy, but they'll never do it, is Frostpunk. I can't even imagine how many cool Frostpunk mods you could do. Different scenarios you could build. I think it would have given the game a lot more life if they'd had mod support, because people would be building scenarios forever for that game, and it would have been really, really neat.
Yeah.
How about you, Peterson?
I think that would be an interesting one, because like you said, people would be going in and doing all those crazy scenarios, and adding a bunch of new things. I'm trying to look. That's not a thing for this game though.
For Frostpunk?
Yeah.
No, they've talked about it. They've addressed it specifically and said the way they built the game makes mods impossible. Technically impossible.
See, this RTS types of games. Well, this is kind of an RTS, kind of a management sim. So great for mods because you put your base game out there and then just let people go wild. And, you don't have to download mods, but if you want to keep playing this game and keep it fresh and interesting, right? So Frostpunk would be a great one for mods. I think people are very creative and they would come up with some good stuff. I went a wacky route with this, and I went the impossible route.
Ooh, okay.
Because, JD, we never see mods on Nintendo games.
Ooh.
Okay, can you imagine if people could mod Pokemon games and just be making Pokemon, adding new Pokemon? You could make all of it maybe a little bit more accessible. People would be making new areas.
Oh my god!
Can you imagine?
I can't.
Pokemon mods
would be crazy. I played a Pokemon mod that was like an emulated version of a game. It was based on the first games. It used like the same gameplay and stuff, but it was designed to follow the anime and the storylines in the anime, and it was fantastic. It was unfucking believable. So like you find the Charmander on that route and like you have the same Pokemon that Ash has, and it was just so neat. And it was a labor of love. They only got through like the first, when I was playing it, they'd only gotten through like the first, a couple episodes of the anime. So it was definitely like a long slog. But yeah, if they had made mod support, games like that would be dime a dozen. It'd be so cool.
It would be crazy cool, right? I don't know. I just think, again, the developers and game creators are creative, but they have boundaries. And whenever you release mods, the public is more creative than this closed environment of developers are going to be, who have a boss, right? They're going to be more creative. So you see games like Slay the Spire, that has mod support, and
they're
man,
so crazy.
Some of those mods, they have new characters, so many new cards, all sorts of stuff, and a lot of them are very good. I haven't played them, but I've looked at them, and I'm like, wow, that would be great. Because I'm a little scared of mods, because I don't want to accidentally ruin my game. I don't know, guys. I don't get it. I'm scared of it. Just,
what I want to do? I want to sick that creativity on Madden, or honestly any sports game.
Yeah.
Put mods in all sports games. Like, who fucking cares? Let's see what happens.
You could make them. What would happen is you could turn any football game into.
It'd all turn into Rocket League. Everything would just end up in a 3D space.
Yeah,
the gravity would be turned down, and that would be it.
Well, you'd turn all the NFL games or whatever. They turn them into Blitz.
Yeah.
Right. You'd have big head, little body, all sorts of like the funky stuff like that. But then you'd have a full team of, whatever anime characters or something like that. I don't know, but it would light a new fire under some of those games for sure.
That's what I want. I want mods in Madden.
That'd be so funny. So sticking with the Nintendo vein, oh man. Super Smash Bros. Look, it doesn't have to be for like the multiplayer, the PvP. Obviously, you're not going to put the mods in. But man, can you imagine if people could just make it, if a modder, a very good modder, could just go in and add new characters, whoever they wanted, and just adding all sorts of wacky stuff and new, I don't know. I think that, again, you would see so much more, because right now Super Smash Bros. What do they release? Like 1, 2, maybe 3 characters a year, which is great, but it's never the ones people wanted. I mean, and modders would go outside of Nintendo and Microsoft, which
They'd
is
make
kind of
such
where they're
crazy
stuck
characters.
now. They'd
It would
be adding
so out of control.
all sorts of stuff. That would just be interesting, right?
So one that's more down to earth that I think would be kind of just interesting. And they've done things. They've kind of had mods in a way, in that they had like customizable multiplayer matches that it led to some really cool things. But I want to see Halo. Lots of Halo mods. Just release, like, remember Halo 3? They had that grift ball. They had like different game modes that people just made, and then they introduced them as like actual modes.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that the Halo community was really, really pioneering with all that stuff. So just give them full mods. Let them do whatever they want. Like, I want to see Barney in a Halo game.
Yeah, dude.
I want to see a big alien Barney.
He's running around
tank.
with in his big old butts,
brute.
Shaking back and forth as he runs around.
You get it. Replace the brutes with Barney. That's what I want.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you can see the theme that I'm going with here.
Nintendo.
Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Oh my god.
So this game, I mean, Skyrim has 1,000 mods, 1,000,000 mods, right? This type of open world game,
so easy.
It's so easy, right? It would be so perfect. And again, you could make silly mods, you could make serious mods, you could play as a completely different character, right? People could do that, but man, I just feel like, I mean, the game itself is great in its pure form, but man, we would see some crazy videos if you could mod Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Okay, so that does it for me. Do you have any more?
No, I don't, because I thought of a couple others, and then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, they do have mods for Stardew Valley.
I had a couple like that too.
So yeah,
cool. Yeah, let's just get a first impression rose.
Oh my god, the first impression rose.
All right, Peterson.
Yeah, so I have a first impression rose. This is a game that has been recommended to me 20 times. It came out in 2018 on the Switch, and then kind of came out on everything else 2019, 2020, 2021 kind of. So this game is Octopath Traveler. Are you familiar with this game? JD? JD, you there?
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh. So have you heard of Octopath Traveler?
I have not.
Okay, so this is like a JRPG, right? Which is why I think people are recommending it to me. It's a role-playing game, but it's called Octopath because there's 8 different characters that you can play, and they all have like their own storyline, right? And so I started off as like this hunter character, and your mentor runs off to go hunt this. He's like, someone hires him to go hunt this beast. He's like, I'll be right back. Doesn't come back, keeps writing you letters, and then all of a sudden you get a message, or his dog shows up, and it's kind of like a Lassie situation. Like, what'd you say, girl? He's in trouble? Oh, show me where it is. And so you got to go save him, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the hunter's storyline. And I'm only a few hours into this game. Unfortunately, man, it hurts my heart and my soul to say this. I cannot give this game my first impression rose.
Oh,
and
sad.
Here is why. It falls into that classic blunder that JRPGs fall into. This game assumes a lot. So you jump in and you're automatic, like right in, it kind of goes the story, you kind of do the dialogue, and then you're in. And you start off just, it's kind of funny. You're fighting the people in the village for like practice, but when you beat them, they're on the ground, like passed out for a while. So like the village, and you can fight anyone in the village. And they're all just like, all the villagers are just laying on the ground, like, because you've like knocked
giving
him
him
out.
a beat down. Nice.
But, they're in for it. Like, you're not just going around being a bully. They're like, all right, let's do this. Let's test out my skills against you because you're the most powerful in the village, right? But they fall into this classic blunder where you have your moves, your starting moves, and 3 hours in, I still didn't understand quite what the moves were and what the point of the different moves were. And it seemed like I didn't have a lot of variety in my moves. I was like, okay, because you like do a certain attack on a person and they're like, oh, they're weak to ranged attacks, right? And you have one ranged attack, and so you're just doing the same thing on every single person over and over and over. And I know a lot of JRPGs are like that, but this seemed this seemed like it wasn't progressing fast enough to where I knew I was like, ooh, I'm going to get my second character, and then we're going to run through it together, and we're going to pick up new abilities and new weapons. I was just getting new weapons that weren't really giving me new abilities. And I know you get them. I know someone out there is going to be like having an aneurysm being like, you got to play more. But the thing is, I'm 3 hours in. I wasn't like wandering around, just monkeying around. I was going through the story, right? And I started to feel very bored. I never felt sucked in. Which,
that's too bad.
Those
it's like a story-driven game.
Those types of games have to suck you in quickly. With the when I played, what was it called? It had this Epic Battle Fantasy 5. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
That game sucked you in right away because, it was goofy and funny, but the action was good enough, quick enough, variable enough to where I was like so into it and I beat the whole game. This game, I'm 3 hours in, and I promise you, I wanted to love this game. It's been on my wish list. I've almost pulled the trigger for years on buying it, and finally it was on Game Pass. So I was like, yes. I was sick, so I laid on the couch in front of the Xbox to play this game that I've been looking forward to playing, and I honestly can tell you I had no fun, which really breaks my heart because I wanted to love this game. And I'm still going to throw in a couple more hours, and hopefully it'll suck me in at some point. Maybe I started as a bad character. I don't know. But the game is just assuming that you understand. The names of the moves are nonsense, right? Which often in JRPGs, that's the case. Like it means nothing to me what the move is called. And so you're really just like, trying to decipher what this move does and trying to remember what kind of damage it does. And man, it's just, JD, it's not great. It's not great. And everyone told me I would love it. And I'm so sad and disappointed that I don't.
Well, I feel like you gave it a full try.
Like 3 hours is a long time
that's a
to
good
play
try.
A game, and to really not be interested after 3 hours, to me, they're doing something wrong. And I know there's a handful of games out there where they're like, just got to play the first 8 hours. I promise you got to play the first 8 hours, like Persona. That's what everyone says.
Jesus, 8 is a lot.
And you're like, that's a long time to not be into a game.
Yeah.
And so I will play a few more hours just to like see if I missed something. But right now, man, it's just not doing it for me.
Okay. All right, guys. So we don't have Dice Destiny this week because Danny has her pick and she's still playing it, but we'll hopefully get that too out next week.
What was her pick? Just remind us.
The Dark Pictures anthology, and she's just playing, I think, the first game from that.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So that does it for us this week. To play us out, we've got the music from RimWorld.
I was thinking we hadn't done the music from RimWorld yet.
So we're going to do the music from RimWorld. I'm JD, logging off.
This is Peterson going BRB. Wait, BRB? No, that's not. Danny got me all messed up last week.
Peterson Productions. Oh, yeah.